Hi guys, here's a short update before part 4. After finishing part 3 yesterday, today is cleanup day. Endless screen recording snippets, voiceover texts, and audio files. My desktop looked like hell. During the walkthroughs, I noticed a few small things I wanted to tweak before uploading the code to GitHub. It's like talking about your code with a colleague or writing a detailed prompt. Suddenly, you see the issue. Same here. One of them is in the ChatEditController, line 27. Seems like I created this file before I added A and B to differentiate between public actions and public dispatching methods. Great opportunity to test whether the stimulus component guidelines are clear enough for my AI teammates and find out which one's up for the task. Last teammate I worked with was GP401, so I gave it a shot. I provided the stimulus controller slash folder and the guidelines, then asked, do my controllers align with my guidelines? What did 4.1 do? It focused on the term component in the file name of the guideline and only looked in the component slash folder. When scanning the 3 files there, only the alert controller was actually aligned in terms of having all the correct sections. Sorry, mate. Next attempt, Cursor Grok -3 beta. Or was it GPT-4o? Can't even remember at this point. So, why didn't it apply the AAI identity rule correctly? And yeah, still a limitation in May 2025. The model I use in chat isn't preserved. Switching to another chat switches the model for all chats. A bit annoying, honestly. Anyway, same result. It checked the component slash folder and confidently claimed that everything was aligned. Sorry again, mate, but I'm starting to get the feeling it might be me, or more precisely, the title of the guidelines. Then, next shot, Cursor Anthropic Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Now we're talking. Turns out my guidelines do need a little refactoring. Claude spotted that too. Argh. It also looked for the components. But wait. Nice. It found a missing section 4b and pointed out irregularities in a few other sections. Awesome, mate. It even spotted the section 5 in the drop-down controller about getters and setters, which should actually be section 6 and should be added to the guidelines. Great work. So, let's update the guidelines. I started a new instance of Claude and gave it this context. I provided another AI, the controller slash folder as reference, and the stimulus component guidelines. It only looked into the component slash folder. But my actual intent was that section 3, controller structure, should apply to all stimulus controllers, not just components. While drafting that prompt, I realized it was me in the first place who was lazy. I had only provided the component guidelines, but not the main stimulus guidelines. Yeah, lazy. With that insight, Claude examined the documentation and suggested improvements to clarify that the controller structure applies to all controllers, not just components, and updated the guidelines accordingly. So, another new instance of Claude, this time with both guidelines and the same question. Do my controllers align with my guidelines? Hurrah! Besides app/pwa and helpers application-controller.js, Claude fixed all the missing sections and reordered the ones that were out of place. Now all controllers align with my guidelines. This is fun, and a great example of how the review step in Candy Scrum Pillar really pays off. In my sprints, I use clear lifecycle states like sprint 003, to do, in progress, review, done. I updated the YAML front matter, and now these 2 guidelines, along with the adjusted stimulus controllers, are finally done. Awesome! So, next step. Let's make Dependabot happy. I run bundle outdated and update everything in the default group first. Then I move on to the test and development group gems. Just out of curiosity, I check which of the remaining outdated gems are dependencies, and finally use bundle update to bump the rest. Then, bash Rails test. All tests pass yes, great. Now let's check and speed up the system tests in Adobe Premiere. Ta-da, they pass as well. But wait, what about that idea I had, using 200 milliseconds instead of 1 second for alert delays in tests? I update constants.rb and run the tests again. 1 minute, 45 seconds, and 560 milliseconds versus 1 minute, 44 seconds, and 240 milliseconds. Not much of a difference. But keep in mind, this is just a simple app with authentication and a single chat name to test. Now imagine a bigger project with dozens of models and multiple stimulus controllers. Those extra seconds could really add up. How do you handle tests in large projects? Leave a comment if you've got tips to share. Anyway, I pushed the code to GitHub and watched my tests run again, sped up to 2000%. All checks are green, and this is what makes my developer heart happy. And finally, I saw my project in light mode, so to speak. One little detour. I commented out the YAML front matter in my Markdown files. Yeah, I thought if the Markdown preview in my editor doesn't show it, GitHub wouldn't either. But honestly, I don't really care. So now, you can check out the repo and explore everything you've seen from part 1 up to now. I hope you liked it. Pup and like it. Greetings from Hamburg, Andy.